seated in front of me, and my dear friends. It's like an extempo speech that I'll be giving in front of you. What Oinamji has said is very true. I don't have a prepared speech. And then I was thinking, what should I say here when I came from Dibrugarh this morning, had a few meetings at Morigaon, and then landed with you. The program that we had today is the foundation day of Vivekananda Kendra Institute of Culture. What we had today was Medam Mifi, another religious, social religious of the Thai Ahom community. And what I wanted to link was, as a government of Assam, now that I'm heading few of the departments, basically important is the indigenous tribal faith and culture. Coming back to the word of indigenous, if I say the definition of indigenous, nobody can describe what indigenous is. Everybody has an advisor. I do have an advisor. I asked my advisor today, just before entering here, what should I speak? My advisor just told me, Oinam is there, he'll be speaking, concentrate on Oinam, what he's saying, and then you will be able to get the flow. And I must say that my advisor was very right. He's working as an professor in Guwahati University. His name is Dr. Uttam Pathari, and I think Oinam must known him very nicely. So, according to the topic that we are in, I must say that indigenous, I said like nobody can describe it. And at the same time, even we cannot celebrate the Indigenous Day, which is on 9th of August, if I'm not mistaken. Because we cannot say who are indigenous. We have so many definitions. According to the UN, it is being said, before the Europeans have come, whoever are the settlers are termed as indigenous. Very rightly said by Oinam, saying that a tribal might think that I'm an indigenous, but at the same time, those settlers those who are not tribals might also think that, am I not an indigenous? That's the question. But the department has been made up in such a way, not to have a confusion, is the indigenous tribal faith and culture. We will be catering to those indigenous groups who has looking after the tribal as well as the faith in their culture. So this is a very interesting department, I might say. I have been taken over for the last 6 months, and still we are on the verge of trying to expand how it really will be able to work for the people of Assam. Very soon we'll be having a program on this to have a very, not to say a very grand program, but then to make people understand where we stand and how we should go for it. I must say that our neighboring state, Arunachal Pradesh, has done very good in this department, I am being told. And then there's definitely, I think that we'll be able to make it up to it also. Now, as I was listening to Chakma, I had, when I was listening to him, there were goosebumps, you can say. And then I thought Vivekananda Kendra Institute of Culture, such a renowned institute, where I was sitting here, I could say everybody is more elder to me. And not only elder, they are more polished than me from where I came from, the background of what I am. I'm basically from the zoology department. The other time when it was being said is social science, sorry for it, I'm from the zoology department. And arts was completely no-no to me. But zoology is such a subject that you can understand so many things in it. And then when this indigenous comes, it's related to the biodiversity, I will say. For any lame person to understand what an indigenous is, you can relate it to biodiversity, and then it will be an indigenous. What I meant to say when I come to of an biodiversity, where will you find a biodiversity? You'll find a biodiversity in the forest. I will again refer back to my earlier speaker when he had mentioned of the forest. And that is very true. We live in forest, we worship forest. I belong to a tribe of a Dimasa, and I was thinking, when Mr. Chakma was speaking so much of what we haven't known, why should I not speak of my own so that people understand what we are and how we should project ourselves in the mainland of Assam or in mainland of India. We belong to a very small tribe, I will say, but I can say that we are really indigenous. And then we are very rich in culture. The moment a child is born, we don't greet the child with a honey or with any sweetness. How do we greet it? We greet it with our own traditional rice wine, taking it to be as an ancestor's blessing, a drop on the mouth of any child. And we believe among ourselves, it remains with us from birth till death, and we normally utilize it in any of the programs of our culture. I am not taking it otherwise, but at the same time, when we use it, and then when it is being imbibed in the community, we understand its value, and we don't go it in the negativism also. So that's what our culture is. We are born and brought up with the rice wine. And to make it more pronounced, I will say, that particular rice wine is known as Judima, which has got a geographical indication. I will say the first geographical indication of the rice wine of the Northeast, which have been borne by the Dimasas. So this is how an indigenous ways of producing oneself is in the society. The second thing is that the moment a girl is born in a house, we don't go for saying a child born means it's a blessing. We don't differentiate between a boy and a girl. It's a child and it's a blessing. The moment a girl reaches the age of a puberty, she learns the art of weaving. Every house in Dimasas, residing in the villages, residing in the town areas, knows how to weave it. I am wearing one of the weavers' weave, but I'm sorry to say, even if I'm a Dimasa, I did not learn and I did not get the opportunity to learn to weave. But I showcase the culture which is being weaved by our weavers. Every household they weave it. I can get it next to my door. But then we studied in a town area. Like, I don't know whether I should curse my school or be happy with my school, because I can speak at least a fluent English, which makes me okay, I can communicate with others. At the same time, I will say that I lost the art of learning. So these are the two things which, if we go it in where we are, but at the same time, when I talk of the indigenous, these girls in every village, if you go, you'll know how it is being weaved. When we weaved it, now only we got the colors which are, or the clothes, I mean like the threads which are being sold in the market. Traditionally, if you go, you will see that the cocoons, silk is being taken. It's still there. And then these are being dyed traditionally by onions or by some other herbs. We had a program recently in the month of December where we had showcased our traditional way of dyeing, the art of weaving clothes. And the particular color of our culture, of our Dimasas, those days were, and it's still continuing, is the common natural black and red. Mixture of few herbs together makes a color of red. Mixture of other herbs together makes a color of black. And how thankful we are to forest. And why can't we say that forests are where we give our lives, and why we go for and believe in animism. I can proudly say that we believe in animism. We don't worship the idols, but yes, Durga Pujas are like a festival for us. But we practice animism. And the moment we say practice animism is we go back to the forest. I would just like to quote that of our own term language. When we say in Dimasas, it's like I'm going to teach everybody a part of Dimasa. So when we say in Dimasa, if we are saying of a forest, we say Hagra. Hagra. That's a 2 word. That means, Ha means it's a land, Gra means it's an old, very old. So when we say Hagra means it's an old land. We don't know since when it has been, but everything we get it from there. This is what our animism and this is what our indigenous faith belief is so much attached to. The moment we say Hagra, it becomes that it's an old land. Now there are so many communities which are of a different ways which goes for animism. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Longki Pangchu is there from the Karbi tribe. I don't know whether he will agree with me or not, but I just wanted to say, and then I know it is how it is being practiced and how it is being believed. There's a river called as Kopili. Everybody must have known by now that there's a very big river called as Kopili. If you go in the different terms, there's a hydroelectric project coming up now in that very river. We will be generating some energy from that also in terms of power. It has also, and then we will be doing more of it. Now, Kopili is a word which had come from the Jaintias, I am told. Karbis also call it Kopili. But the Dimasas keep the Karbi name of Langklang alive. What I mean to say is, Langklang, we also say the river name is Langklang, and we also say the river name is Kopili. I am sure that the Karbis does not follow the deity which we practices it in the Langklang. But we Dimasas, we practice the Langklang for any good occasion whenever we go to the particular place to do any good things. So this is how the cultures are imbibed with one another. We think that it is being taken from somebody else, it is being worshipped by someone else, and it is being name-capped by somebody else. But if I take it all these 3 tribes, I will say that all these 3 tribes are indigenous. They believe in one faith, they believe in one reason of understanding the faith also, and this is how the tradition goes on. I must also say that when we are here, as the department, I will take up that now, we believe that there was also, and there will be, an interaction where people will believe, many of them will believe why it is being called as an indigenous and why we are not being included and why not we, why only them, it will be. But as I said, like this department will only be believing in the tribal faith, and that tribal faith, I am sure, to many of the indigenous communities that they have been practicing, are being practiced by their own deities, by their own pujaris, I will say. But those pujaris will not be those who are doing those pujaris who are doing in the natural way. What I mean to say is that in my community, when a clan comes, we have 2 clans. One clan for the male and one clan for the female. That was very related with Chakmas when he was saying, we could not get married with the same clan. Dimasas also don't get married to the same clan. We also get married to some other clans. If I am a clan of A, the other clan has to be B. My son will follow my clan, which is a maternal clan. But he will take the surname of the father. This is how the society of the Dimasas is. So we will never find, genetically if I say, we will never find any genetic diseases that can happen in my community. It will never happen because we are always going in a different direction. But what Mr. Chakma said is also true, because Dima Hasao or Haflong that we are staying is, we are living with so many tribes. I can call my district as a mini Northeast. We have Manipuris, we have Mars, we have Mizos, we have Vaipes, we have Rangkols, we have Jemi Nagas, we have Raumai Nagas, we have Kukis, we have Jaintias, we have Karbis. And what else do you require? These are the tribes that we reside in our place. And mingling with those tribes, we understand what the word of indigenous is and how strong it is. But there lies again a question mark in believing the faith. I will say, I studied in a missionary school because that is the only missionary school we had it. In Assam, I will say at that time, which was established in 1918, and in 15 it started. 1918, it was functional. 1901, when the railways was being constructed, and then the Britishers was their headquarter being Gunjung, one of the subdivisions of those time, was in our place, and the railways was there, so transportation from the rest to Chittagong was how my district was being crossed. And to that district that it has been crossed, 1915 it started, and my school had already completed 100 years. And we, not only we, I'll say, at that time, we being an alumni, when we see the alumni list, we see many of the Indian, either from north, either from west, either from south, had studied in our school. And that very school where we had studied, we found a community, a culmination of the community imbibing it, having their own traditions, learning their own traditions, which the school wanted to give those days. Right now, I will also say, the school has a very good environment. Our people coming from Haflong will find it very difficult to speak in Assamese. Not to take it otherwise, because Assamese language is not being applicable to any of the residents there. When I have mentioned you so many tribes, along with non-tribals, for Bengalis, few Assamese, Manipuris, both Meitei and Bishnupurias, Nepalis, Biharis, not much in number. So these are how we had been together. So neither in the school was a subject that had to be taught fluently, neither it was any official language that we had to learn strictly. So Hindi, which is a very particular, called as a Haflong Hindi, very known to many of you, must have known, very famous Haflong Hindi, with no grammar at all. No grammar. It just goes on fluently with speaking. So coming back to where we are standing now, and I must say that whatever speakers they have spoken it's very true. When Oinam sir had said that people like we are being called to give some lectures, but there will be many people who will look after it and the ministers will only sign. This is the irony I will feel also. Sometimes these are the ironies which we face it. But I will also like to say to this Vivekananda Kendra Institute of Culture, someday visit my area. I am already 44 plus. I have never seen VKIC being in my place, ever conducted a program, ever known to given an awareness to the people. So I'd like to say, I might have lost something, but let my next generation learn what an VKIV is. With due respect to all the senior citizens of Guwahati, I will say, if I'm not mistaken, I take my seat now. Thank you to all the panelists and to the chairman for having me here. I don't know whether I should be here or not, but as I was being told that I have to be here, I made myself available. I made my speech available in such a way that all ministers don't come prepared. That is also very true. I would like to wind it up with Vivekananda linked mortality with control of mind, seeing truth, purity, and unselfishness as traits which strengthened it. He advised his followers to be holy, unselfish, and to have Shraddha. Vivekananda supported Brahmacharya, believing it the source of his physical and mental stamina and eloquence. I will also say, because keeping that in mind, seeing truth, morality, unselfishness is what the government is committed now. Under the Honorable Chief Minister, Dr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, we try to preserve the traditional faith, belief and culture of this department. Thank you so much.